had destroyed the central control point. The goal was to maintain functionality through the strength of independent, self-organizing decentralization. We no longer worry about fighting a force-on-force nuclear war with a communist superpower, and we rarely mention the ARPANET, except we did last night, so you guys are ahead of the game. But there is an absolute rationality in decentralized, adaptable, and flexible information transfer. Through this magic, Macs can talk to PCs, can talk to cell phones, can talk to Blackberries, can talk to convection ovens and automobiles, you name it. Certainly the incredible potential for individual empowerment and networking for capitalism was not envisioned by the federal government. Had it been fully realized, what only the marketplace of human desire and ingenuity could know, it would have resisted the technology as incompatible with centralized control and top-down order that is the hallmark of government and empire. In fact, government has resisted the free market-driven internet since the beginning, albeit mostly without success. In an information-saturated world, we do yearn for simplicity and clarity. Often this is satisfied by slogans and labels. The challenge before us is to satisfy human desire for clarity and simplicity through a moral, logical, and accessible approach to politics, economics, and government. Thanks to Ron Paul's presidential run and his wonderful book, The Revolution, millions of Americans are now learning about, talking about, and wondering about liberty, the founders' intentions, and even the workings of the Federal Reserve and fractional banking. To help more people adopt a quality of mind that is unafraid of learning, unafraid of thinking, we can share the right kinds of books and articles, the right kinds of audio and video recordings, the right kind of ideas via personal contact and our own creative leveraging of all types of communication and all types of inspiration. Information and education must be exchanged like certain vitamins in forms that can be effectively absorbed and utilized by the body politic. I read somewhere recently that in the age of Shakespeare, most people in England were unable to read, illiterate. To broadly share information and ideas, the preferred medium was audible, spoken, and theatrical. And in fact, nothing else worked. For writers to complain today that people don't read anymore is not only untrue, it is parochial thinking, something we have to get over. It is about learning, not necessarily reading. In our age, we have a vast audience of readers, viewers, and listeners, and multiple avenues for sharing new freedom-oriented ways of thinking about life and societal order. Through our attention, time, finances, and care, we can support any number of organizations and individuals who promote the creative and critical thought process that the future free Americans must cultivate. We can support a more honest understanding of our country's history and increased study of the founders and their philosophy. We can support a wider awareness of economics as it really operates through the promotion of the Austrian School and the work of the Mises Institute and Liberty Fund. We can support by reading, viewing, and sharing the outstanding contributions to the national conversation offered by the Future Freedom Foundation, Foundation for Economic Education, the Independent Institute, LouRockwell.com, and even the Cato Institute, among so many others. We can support the parents of this country who have liberated their precious children from public schooling. According to an alliance, the Alliance for Separation of School and State, these 8 million liberated students equate to the entire student body of 25 different states and Washington, D.C. And that's not chump change. This one area of information flow, targeted in support of a living liberty, is full of opportunity. At worst, each of us is individually improved and made wiser, a little more free and a little more bold. At best, a whole country may live free and win the battle against cowardly bureaucracy, consummate centralization, and the inhumanity of empire. A second set of opportunities for a new republic amidst the ongoing collapse is economic, and yet it relates, as all things do, to how we think and what we believe. Economics is a battlefield where centralized socialized control of choice and human action, call it communism, socialism, or fascism, constantly moves to crush economic liberty and capitalism. Augustine's pirate boldly advises the emperor that it is he who is the greater criminal. 1,200 years later, Frederick Bastiat described what he called the legal plunder conducted daily by the state. The most well-known Marxist treatise is called Das Kapital, in recognition that society and government is linked to its economic system. In Ron Paul's seminal book, The Revolution, 2 of 7 concise chapters are dedicated to this topic of human and state economy. What are the economic opportunities in the collapsing empire, and how do we discern them? Pete Schiff's latest book, Crash Proof: How to Profit from the Coming Collapse, is an example of economic advice suited to the collapse of empire. Bill Bonner and Addison Wiggins' Empire of Debt and their Financial Reckoning Day come to mind. There are many others. For those of us, though, who have little money, the question of where to invest has more to do with the resources we all have: our interests, our study, our work, our time. In a collapsing empire, the answer is not difficult. Do not invest your interest, study, work, and time in those activities that depend on a robust empire, a grand centralized state, and the plunder of others. The American way of empire and the American Leviathan is not only corrupt and deadly, it is ending. At a minimum, we ought to avoid throwing good money after bad. Beyond that, the choices of where to spend our money and time are really wide open. What works? What is Republican in concept? What do we like and value in a free society? This is where to put your money and your time. We find it so easy to advise others to avoid meat or fur or genetically modified food, to recycle, to buy shade-grown coffee. It should be just as easy and just as common to advise others to avoid funding and supporting the deadly enterprise of empire. As the empire collapses around us, we need to recognize that capitalism is, and has been for centuries, made to be a villain with few defenders. If one considers the economic policies of the main contenders in this election year for king of the empire, we find the hardcore socialism offered by Obama. The Club for Growth said that Senator McCain's eager embrace of grossly inaccurate class warfare demagoguery demonstrated, at best, a painful ignorance of pro-growth economic principles. A lot of words. Bob Barr's run for president as a libertarian offers some hope. His economic platform is based on reduced federal spending and corporate welfare, and sadly, replacing the income tax with a national sales tax. But only when you look under the issue of individual liberty on Barr's website do you see veiled reference to unfettered capitalism, and then only if you use your imagination. American revolutionary Patrick Henry wrote, "Perfect freedom is as necessary to the health and vigor of commerce as it is to the health and vigor of citizenship." In 1956, not so long ago, Ludwig von Mises published a small book entitled The Anti-Capitalist Mentality. In it, he tried to understand and explain why the social organization of capitalism, the very engine of progress and prosperity, is misunderstood by average people, discredited by politicians, and hated by the intellectual and chattering classes. He points out that representative government, the foundation of any republic, has a constitutional corollary. This constitutional corollary, and I quote, is economic freedom, consummated in the market economy, parentheses, capitalism. Mises explained in a variety of ways how the social and political deck is stacked against the system in which we vote with our capital. In this system, merit and competition determines winners and losers. More importantly, capitalism's winners can never rest on their laurels, never indulge for long in sloth, in pride, in gluttony, greed, lust, or envy, or even wrath. In a free market, such indulgences open the door to the less slothful, the less greedy, the less prideful, the less angry competitors. If capitalism is the constitutional corollary for a republican form of government, it is also a moral corollary for living a good and productive life. Yet, as Mises points out, and I quote, "As a result of economic ignorance, as the people see it, the unprecedented technological improvements of the last 200 years were not caused or furthered by the economic policies of the age,